Everyone, back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar, run for the UKV, have a look at the precipitation and the temperature, as we do have a lot of showers around over the next few days with a generally quite cool northwesterly to westerly airflow, and there is the potential, as we've alluded to over the last videos, of quite a stormy few days towards the end of this working week, particularly perhaps on Friday, with a massive deluge of rain coming in from the west, perhaps 50-60 mile per hour gusty winds alongside that. Again, we perhaps thought it could have been a named storm a few days ago, now more likely just to be a general low pressure system, but quite a intense low pressure system nonetheless. Beyond that, it looks likely, as we see with the GFS, GEM, ECMWF and the ensembles, things are going to remain westerly. Amplification in the jet stream though, so there is potential for higher pressure to build in at times, but there is massive uncertainty about positioning of any high pressure builds, whether it's to the north, over the top of us, to our east or west. And of course, this time of year with massive conflicting air masses to our north and our south, we can see drastically different conditions from very subtle shifts in the flow. So have a look at that at the end of the second half of the video. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well. The link's in the description. So you start on the live radar. I'm recording this pretty early in the morning, around 8-9 a.m, and you can see we've got a lot of heavy showers pushing in. Now a lot of these showers will fade further inland they go, but they are sustaining their strength quite significantly across the northwest down to the southeast along this sort of alignment. For the northwards, we do have some heavier rain pushing into parts of Scotland, and you can see there is a little bit of snow over the higher ground, but again, mostly rain here. And we do have a weather front pushing into parts of western parts of Ireland. Now this will skirt from the northwest to the southeast, so it shouldn't really go much further eastwards than Northern Ireland, maybe parts of southern Wales and southwest England, as this does push in, but it is something we do need to keep an eye on regardless though of the next couple of days. Yes, some areas will be drier, but all areas will be chilly, and will have the potential for rain a lot of the time. Now, if we do put on those 2-meter temperatures, you can see if we do get them to load, it is a pretty chilly morning. Yes, there are some yellows perhaps down to the south of Ireland and southwest England, but that's more because we've got cloud cover there, so it's holding those temperatures up. Elsewhere, more lighter or fader yellows, and a lot of blues, mixing temperatures dropping down to the mid to high single digits. So pretty chilly night we've seen, and it's going to continue over the next few days. If you have a look at the UKV and see what that is showing over the next 5 days, you can see that precipitation pushing through at the moment. As we head to this afternoon, those showers do continue, and that rain across Scotland does slide down the east coast a bit, fragment, but still is there. The weather front across parts of Ireland shifts slowly, but never really makes too much inroads inland. Now if we do push through to tomorrow afternoon, and you can see there is potentially tomorrow some precipitation pushing in into the parts of northeast England, around a little occluded front around a small low pressure system there, but elsewhere it is generally showers. That rain does push inland, giving a bit of thicker cloud and some rain, but it should break apart through Wednesday evening into Thursday. As we head through to Thursday afternoon, you can see generally still another day of sunshine and showers, still relatively chilly, but not too bad, where we do see a bit of sunshine, but under those showers it will feel pretty chilly. Beyond that, as we head into Friday, you can see cloud picking up from the west, a massive barrage of rain pushing in, significant precipitation pushing in, bringing widespread perhaps 5 to 10 millimetres of rain as it sweeps through, maybe more in some areas, and this is where that real stormy period comes with strong westerly winds, some patches of very heavy, significant rain perhaps in the south, and again, you can have a look at those wind gusts. You can see as it moves in maybe 50, 60, maybe even 70 miles per hour, and even behind that still 30, 40, maybe 50 mile per hour wind gusts. So it is quite lively, and it's because we've got a big low pressure system to our north pushing through. And the reason why I don't think this will be a named storm is because the centre of the low stays to our north and our west. The actual system that affects us is just the weather fronts and the associated outer bands of the isobars, which does still got some gusty winds, but not the strongest winds, which will be towards the centre of the low. If you look at those max temperatures, you can see early this morning it was cold, around 6-7 degrees. But this afternoon, you see those temperatures perhaps rising as high as 14 or 15, but widely around 10, 11, 12. Yeah, quite chilly day today. It's going to feel real cold out there, especially when the wind picks up, and especially if you get trapped under any of those showers. Make sure you do wear a coat if you are out today. As we head into tomorrow, you see overnight temperatures drop down towards the mid to high single digits once again, but again, nothing too crazy low. And tomorrow afternoon, you can see those temperatures rise once again towards the low to mid teens, maybe a touch higher than it was today, around 14, 15 degrees, maybe the Ice Age 16 or even 17 degrees. But it is real peculiar how now we are really struggling to get those high teens mark, which are almost trivial a week or two ago, and a week before that it was almost trivial that we'd reach 20 degrees somewhere. Just shows you how the times are changing. Of course, it is expected this time of year, but it always does come as a shock to the system after, especially after coming off quite a long, hot summer. As we head through Wednesday evening, you see those temperatures dropping down to maybe 8 to 9 degrees at the lowest, maybe 5 or 6 across Ireland, and you see through Thursday afternoon temperatures widely a little bit higher, 16 to 18 degrees. Those are not too bad in the sunshine. Beyond that, into Friday, because we've got clearer skies, which gave higher temperatures during the day on Thursday, it will mean overnight temperatures are actually colder, maybe 4 or 5 degrees in a few spots. And once that weather front moves in, it will feel quite miserable. But where we do escape it, perhaps for Friday afternoon in Far East, maybe 16 or 17 degrees under it, struggling above sort of 10, 11, 12. And as we head into Saturday, not too bad overnight, and Saturday afternoon, maybe 17 or 18 degrees in the east, and low teens further westwards under more showers. So if we do now go over to the GFS and see what that's showing over the next couple of weeks, you can see a northerly flow at the moment with the low pressure, and then you can see that big westerly push comes in with big weather fronts and strong gusty winds. It's beyond that, into early next week we see some application of the jet stream. The GFS today is bringing high pressure over the top of us. This would be warm and relatively dry. You look at those upper air temperatures, you can see perhaps 10 degrees AGF for a time, which would give temperatures perhaps in around the 20 degree mark if we are lucky and we get some sunshine. But it doesn't last all too long with westerly flow trying to push in, and although low pressure net systems never fully push themselves through, we'd still see the associated weather fronts nudge their way in that could give us some slightly more unsettled, cloudy or rainier conditions. But high pressure continues to try and hold, and at 384 hours actually produces a bit of blocking to our north and a bit of an easterly wind, which won't be amazingly cold, but it would feel generally chilly as the continent does start to cool down. So yeah, very interesting seeing that from the GFS today. High pressure definitely trying to build in, but the low pressure out of the Atlantic still continuing to try and push in as well. We're getting this little battleground situation as whether the high pressure trying to build in wins out, holds those low pressure at bay, or whether we see high pressure completely lose, or whether we see a little bit of a battleground where we're sort of oscillating between them, where we still see some of the low pressure associated impacts, but not all of them, and we'd say a little bit more drier and perhaps a little bit warmer as well. So we'll have to see exactly what happens with that. If you go over to the GM, see how that does compare over the next 10 days. Again, low pressure in control at the moment. As we push through, you can see low pressure continues to push through. And you can see by Sunday, perhaps a little low pressure system developing there. That does become a little bit more distinct and a bit severe. We wouldn't be surprised if that got named. That did really spin up, because you can see along the jet stream a little dip there, really developing, but we didn't see that on the GFS at all. So it's something to keep an eye on. Beyond that, high pressure does build in, but once again, it's a battleground where low pressure still pushes through, but still got these high pressures trying to hold on. The one thing with this is because the wind direction is generally coming from a southwesterly or southerly, it will be the air masses should generally be around average, maybe even above average towards the start of October, or at least from day 7 to day 10. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to feel warm on the surface, but it hopefully will mean there's a higher chance we see a bit of sunshine, a bit of dry weather, that those temperatures will rise a little bit higher, but we'll just have to see. If you look at the ECMWF, see how that does compare. Again, low pressure pushing in over the next few days. Quite big low pressure system there. Before high pressure built in, but again, these continued lows trying to push in could give some unsettled conditions, especially further northwards and westwards. And at day 10, we do see high pressure actually firmly in control. But as we know from the other runs, it is transient, getting pressure from the low pressure out to the west. And you can see the air mass is not too great, but the 10 to 15 degree isotones just to our south, so if we did see any push of southerly winds, we could see a generally quite warm air mass for this time of year. Looking at temperature deviation, we are slightly above average, so again, it means when there's sunshine and dry weather, it won't feel too bad at all. So if we do finish the video by having a look at the ensembles, you can see over the next couple of weeks we are sort of up and down. The next 5 days or so we are below average with big precipitation days this week with that westerly flow pushing in with that big weather front. Beyond that, as we head into the first week of October, temperatures right around or above average, perhaps even a signal in the real longer term for it to dip below average again. But at least that sort of 3rd of October to around 8th, 9th of October is above average. That's where we got the most of the operational runs, around that day 7 to day 10 range, is above average with that higher pressure build. Again, no absolute distinct high pressure build because there still is some precipitation spikes, so we can't say for absolute definite, but it is probably the most likely scenario from what we've seen today. The high pressure will at least try and build in for the south, and you can see that by looking at the sea level pressure. You can see a bump in pressure there around the 3rd or 4th of October and maintaining it. Again, not all are big high pressure systems, some are weaker systems, some are pushing lower pressure at times, and it is just something we need to keep an eye on. But at least it's maybe a glimmer of hope if you want a little bit of drier, maybe even warmer weather towards the start of October. If you do look at the ECMWF, see how that does compare over the next couple of weeks. You can have a look. If we do have a look at the midday run, actually, because the midnight run hasn't fully loaded yet, unfortunately, you can see generally below average over the next 5 days, big precipitation spike around this Friday, and then generally we're above average for the foreseeable future, maybe a slight dip towards the end, but generally around that 7 to 10 day time frame, we are above average, very similar to the GFS ensembles. Again, slightly above average precipitation in the meantime, but around that sort of 5th, 6th, 7th of October, there is a little bit of a drying trend. Again, it's not huge, but there is perhaps more ensemble members going drier than not. So this is something we do need to keep an eye on. Again, I can't say anything for too much certainty at this stage, but we'll just have to see. But anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure to stay warm out there in the next few days, because again, it's not freezing, but it is chilly. And of course, Friday does look like a massive washout for some, so do keep an eye on the forecast and perhaps the weather warnings as well, because I wouldn't be surprised to see rain or wind warnings for that on Friday. So do keep an eye on that. Of course, I'll keep you up to date over here as well. So as I said, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.